With the emergence of AI in the agency space, the effectiveness that in-person networking has essentially seen has become way more effective. I think I messed up those words, and that was probably the worst introduction I've ever done for a YouTube video. My name's Gavin. I run an email and SMS marketing agency, and I make these videos to document my own journey and really share with people my process around how I've grown my agency. Currently, my agency does anywhere between $70,000 to $90,000 a month in revenue, USD, and ideally by the end of this year, we'll be sitting roughly at 150,000 USD per month. So I want to speak to something really quickly. It seems to me like in the agency space, everyone has this tendency to go for scale. How can I get in front of as many people as possible at scale? How can I send 1 million DMs? How can I send 10,000 cold emails? How can I send 100 connection requests in a day on LinkedIn? And people have solved a lot of those problems. But what's happened is all of those mediums have become so saturated. It's become so saturated for someone to check their inbox and to check how many cold emails they have. Everyone is doing these things because they want to get clients. And what happens is the efficacy of all of these mediums of outreach wane because everyone's doing it. Getting a cold email is no longer a novelty. Everything in the digital world now, when it comes to B2B lead generation, is so saturated, and people have seemingly forgotten how effective in-person networking actually is, that as a result, in-person networking has not only remained super effective, but become even more effective as a result. I am making an effort, both this year and next year, to go to at least 10 conferences and trade shows just to meet people in person. And the reason I do this is because an in-person connection is so much more effective than a virtual connection or a virtual outreach message, as opposed to actually going up to somebody and shaking someone's hand. If you are able to actually sit down with people and actually touch them with a handshake, right? You are gonna have such a better time at A, being remembered by those people, but B, also building a relationship with them. I'm telling you, if you're trying to do any sort of B2B lead generation. Quick one, if this video is helpful and you want a complete step-by-step system for landing clients on Upwork, which is a massive source of traffic for me, I have a full program called Land Clients on Upwork. Pretty original. The link is in the description. Check it out if you want to learn how to generate income using Upwork as a major traffic source like I have for my agency. Now, back to the video. I would first look at doing in-person networking. Going to local events, going to business chapters, going to trade shows, and going to conferences. The reason being because yes, they take a lot of time, but an in-person connection is gonna last in someone's memory for so much longer than a virtual call. I mean, I would love to show you my calendar right now. Every day, I have anywhere between 6 to 10 calls per day. I can't remember any of them. I can't remember who I met. I can't remember their names, can't remember their faces. I will literally get on like a third call with somebody and struggle to remember who they are because I'm in so many calls, right? But if I have one in-person catch up with somebody, I remember that person. If I get a coffee with them, if I actually shake their hand, if I actually meet them, I'm gonna have a much stronger connection with that person compared to that same person if I'd gotten on 5 or 6 calls with them virtually. In-person connections are so much more effective than virtual ones. And it feels to me like so many people are investing money in LinkedIn, cold email, Upwork, and believe me, I teach Upwork as a business strategy. There's a link in my community in the description, but above everything else, people want to work with people. And so if you are able to sit down with somebody and actually make a connection that way, that is going to last so much longer. One tip I'd actually recommend doing if you are gonna be meeting people in person, hopefully this is like the nugget of this video, is record the city that that person lives in, okay? If you meet up with somebody in person, write down their name, their email address, and the city that they live in, and track it. Every single person I meet, I have a tracker for every single city around the world that people are. That way, any city I go to, I can then have another in-person meeting off the back of it. Anybody you meet, virtually or in person, by the way, you should ask what city they live in. track them and ask them what their email address is if you can, or if you already have it, fantastic. And then when you go to that city or when you go to travel, hit them up and form that in-person human-to-human connection instead of doing all this virtual stuff, which I think is incredibly saturated. Anyway, short video this week. I just wanted to share my 2 cents here, and it's a revelation that I'm kind of coming to within my own business, in that I'm really doubling down on the in-person stuff because I've just seen the effectiveness, after having been in the space for 5 years, compound so much more than anything else. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.